Peace to everybody. I hope you all can hear me. I know you're used to seeing this live broadcast on Saturdays, but unfortunately I wasn't able to do it on Saturday. I was out of town and had to go and take care of some business. So for those who are watching this particular broadcast, I would like to do this particular edition of Facebook Live broadcast in honor of a recent relative that passed, my auntie Eloise. And as I thought about her life and her legacy, I thought about how anytime that I would go to the store with her or something like that, she would always say, "Byron, what do you want?" Right? You know, she was always offering, what do I want? You know, to actually, she was willing to buy, you know, especially candy and treats like that. So the theme of today's broadcast is, what do you want? And I say, what do you want, as it relates to being in a relationship, right? I don't want to be long. But think about this. This is important for us to understand, family. One of the most important relationship skills that all of us need to develop is the skill of anticipating setbacks and acknowledging that when we have those setbacks, that serves as an acknowledgement that we have to relearn the lesson. We have to relearn the skill. Why am I saying that? Because sometimes we can read a book, we can watch a video, you can listen to what I'm saying, and you may say, "Oh, Brother Muhammad, I tried that and it didn't work." Well, it may have not worked that first time, but that doesn't mean it doesn't work, right? So we have to continue trying something. Think about when you try to do something the first time with anything in your life. Did it work? Most of the times it didn't. When you first tried to ride a bicycle, you didn't just start riding on your own the first time. We had to fall and learn, right? When you first may have tried to write a term paper or learn how to dance or learn how to swim, whatever it may be, there was a learning curve that had to actually take place, right? But what happens with many of us, the reason why what we read and what we listen to and the advice that people give us to try, why it doesn't work, is because we're so impatient and we want something done immediately. We want to see immediate results. And so what happens is that frustrates our will. And it frustrates our will, and we give up on practicing and learning the relationship skill that will help you and I get the love that we desire. You know, in education theory, they say that a person or a student must learn something. They need to hear it or do it at least 200 times for them to actually learn it. So think about that as you think about the information that I'm going to share. For those people who are coming in, what we're talking about is, what do you want as it relates to being in a relationship? I've stressed this before. Many people enter into relationships and we don't even know what we want. And if you don't know what you want, then how can somebody else give you what you don't know? That's why we have to take that time and really learn what we want. So think about this, right? When we look at this, even like with medicine, right? Sometimes when we get the results that we want, we stop doing those things. Think about like with doctors. You take penicillin or whatever the medicine may be, but they tell you to take this prescription, and when you take this prescription, they ask you to take it all the way out, even though you may see conditions changing, right? The same thing with what I'm telling you. So if I share something with you that I've read from a book or heard from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, my personal experience, and you begin to start trying it and it gives you some immediate benefit or some benefit down the line, that doesn't mean stop doing it because you got the benefit. We have to keep doing it. It's like medicine. Oftentimes we don't take all of the medicine and that same sickness comes right back, right? I've mentioned several times encouraging people to get certain books. And I noticed after I talk to people, after I encourage them to get the books and I ask them, have you gotten the book? Most of them haven't gotten it. I'm like, you're going to be in the same situation again. Look, talking about what we want, I'm going to be very quick. Sister Ava Muhammad said the following. If you have an opportunity to go look at what she says about marriage and stuff on YouTube, she says that part of our problem in relationships is that many of us can't effectively articulate our wants and our needs in a relationship, right? We don't effectively do it. Some of us think that we do, but if we were effectively articulating what we want in a relationship, then why aren't we getting it? And have you really taken the time to ask your mate in your life, you know, what's my grade? How effective am I in asking, articulating to you what I want in order to feel valued, in order to feel happy? Some of us articulate what we want by threatening people. Listen, if you don't do this, this is going to be it with this relationship. Or brothers may say, if you don't do this, I'm going to go and get somebody else. Like, who functions well under a threat? Or some of us give people ultimatums. Either you do this or this is it. Then it feels like when we do that, we're bullying somebody. And that doesn't work because all of us don't really like people telling us what to do, right? So then sometimes if we're not bullying, if we're not threatening, if we're not giving people an ultimatum, we also express it in such a way that we discourage people for wanting to fulfill our wants. You know, like you talk down to people so much that the person feels like, man, you don't even make me feel like I'm capable of giving you what you want. So people just like, forget it. You know, he or she doesn't seem like they're satisfied. So the nasty tactics, the ultimatum, the threats and all of that type of stuff, listen, it doesn't work. You think about how successful it has been when somebody gave you an ultimatum or a threat when they talked about in the relationship what they wanted, right? So we have to understand how important it is for us to clearly express what we want. We commit a great sin when we think our mate should instinctively know what we want without us telling them. Who does that? None of us can read minds. Maybe in our former selves and before our people fell into this condition, we were able to do that, but we can't read minds. So you have to clearly express to your mate or your potential mate what you need in a relationship in order to feel love. Think about service industries, right? If you go to the barbershop, the salon, the restaurant, think about how if you don't tell the waiter or the waitress what you want, they can't serve you. You go to a masseuse and you have a certain pain in your back. But if you don't tell them where the pain is and how you like that part of your body massaged, how much pressure, they can't give us what we want. So it's the same thing in a relationship. If we haven't effectively and clearly and in an articulate way expressed to somebody what we want, then that could be some of the reason why we are not getting it. Is that right? And they tell you in the service industry, you have to be mindful of how you ask for what you want, especially when you go to a restaurant. They tell people, man, don't treat the waiter or the waitress nasty because these are the people that's going to bring you your food, right? It's the same thing. So when we are articulating what we want to this person that we're involved with, we have to also be respectful, show gratitude, and also do it in a way where they feel that they can give us what we want. I hope y'all are understanding what I'm saying, right? Look, and I'm looking over my point. It says sometimes we can't get what we want from others because they already feel deprived. What I mean by that? Sometimes we can't get from our spouses what we want because they feel like we haven't given them what they want. So, you know, we getting this tick for tack. Well, she didn't make me feel loved. She didn't make me feel valued. She didn't do this for me, so I'm not doing it for her. Or he didn't do this for me. So we getting this back and forward, right? We holding up because I didn't get what I want, so I'm going to deprive her of getting what she wants, or vice versa. If we find ourselves in that particular aspect of a relationship, we simply need to have a discussion. And atone for failing, hey, I apologize for not being able to give you what you want, and I see how it has impacted your ability to give me what I want, right? So we just have to make the apologies, and let's begin to have this discussion where we once again explain to each other what we want. Now, here's some questions for those who are on. I want you to personally think about, nobody else. What do you want in a relationship? What do you want from that man or woman that's in your life? What do you want from that potential man or woman that's going to come to your life? Now, after you write down, get a piece of paper. I'm big on giving people activities. After you write that down, ask yourself, what do you want? But now ask yourself, why do you want it? So if this was me, Brother Willie, I write down, I want this in a relationship. I want this type of treatment. I'm thinking about in every aspect of a relationship that's important to me. But then I want to ask myself, why do I want it? And if we have a difficult time explaining why do we want it, then we really need to analyze and question that want that we say we have. Because if we can't explain why we want a certain thing, then how can we even clarify it as a want when we don't know why we want it, right? Then after we do that, after we write down what we want, why we want it, this is what I want us to do next. Write down how you want somebody to fulfill that want. You get my point? Like, say, for example, now I'll give you a book that you have to go and get that helps with this. It's called The 5 Love Languages. On my previous videos, I talked about this. I hope you go and get the book because he talks about how each human being has a certain way that human being needs to receive love. And sometimes we're not speaking each other's love language. So you know what you want, right? You know why you want it. But do you know how you want to receive it, right? Some people feel valued and their wants are fulfilled when somebody verbally tells them, I love you. You're important to me. You light up my day. Some people feel wanted and feel valued when somebody buys them a gift, be it large or small, because they feel like it's the thought that counts, right? Some people feel valued when somebody spends quality time with them. Let's go out. I just want to spend time with you. We're going to disconnect from the world. I just want to give you all of my attention. Some people feel valued and they feel their wants are fulfilled through, they call it, like he says, physical touch. And physical touch involves touching hands, hugging, and even intimacy, right? Now, I remember we did a panel discussion. We dealt with some older couples. And this sister said her want was she needed to be physically touched by her husband. Her husband embracing her husband holding her hand made her feel valuable. And she told her husband what she wanted, why she wanted it, and she told him what he could do to help him to fulfill that. She said, I need you to physically touch me at least 30 times a day. If that's a hug, if that's a kiss on the cheek, a kiss on the forehead, if that's holding her hand, if that's touching her on her shoulder. See, she clearly explained it. And I'm going to tell this to you, sisters, that works good for men. A lot of times as men, we are not, I read an article that says that we are not hinters, we are hunters. Like, we need to see something. And sometimes as men, depending upon our own intuition, our own sensitivity, sometimes as men, we miss subtleties. So as I mentioned before, sisters, and this applies to brothers as well, write down a list of things that your potential spouse or your mate could do that would make you feel valued. Write down a list of things that they can say and give them a list. So therefore they have the list. They can choose on their own. Well, I'm going to do this one today. I'm going to do this one the other day, right? And we have to begin to do that. So let me go back over this for people who are who just came on, because I want to close it out. For those people who just came, I want to recap. One, this is one of the points we made. One of the most important relationship skills that each and every one of us need to develop is anticipating setbacks. Marriage is not always going to be rosy and lovely. Sometimes we're going to have setbacks in our effort to try to get the love that we desire. But when we have those setbacks, understand that gives us another opportunity to show that we need to master this skill that we need that will help us get the love that we desire. I mentioned how most of us fail in our relationships because of our impatience. We read a book, we listen to a clip, we maybe listen to this, and we try it, and we expect immediate results. And when we try immediate results, when it doesn't happen just like that, we're frustrated and we take the book and say, man, that stuff doesn't work. See, that's that impatience, right? You didn't get on a bicycle the first time and just start riding, right? There was some trial and some error. In educational theory, it says that a person needs to read or hear or do something at least 200 times before we master it. So we have to understand that, right? This is the other thing as well. Avoid the tendency that when we do try something, if it gives us some result, we just stop doing those things. A lot of us are in trouble in our relationships because we stop doing those things that made that person love us. We've become comfortable. We've become complacent, right? It's like medicine. When you take medicine, the doctor tells you take this prescription all the way to the end. Some of us, when that headache stops or that pain stops, we say, I'm good. No, the same thing. When you read something in a book that is telling you how to better your relationship, keep doing it. We have to be consistent. As I close, I'm just recapping for those who are coming on. Sister Minister Ava Muhammad said something very important. She said that most of us can't get the love we desire in our relationships because of our inability to articulate what we want. And I talked about how this particular video blog is in honor of my auntie who recently passed, and she would always ask me when I would go to the store with her, what do I want? So I want to take that aspect of her and ask you that in your relationships. What do you want? As you sit here and listen to this video, are you 100% clear and definite about what you want, right? And if you're in a relationship, you should go to the brother or sister who you're in a relationship with and ask them, on a scale of A, B, C, or D, or F, grade me on my ability to explain to you what I want. And ask them to be honest, and don't get upset if they give you a low grade. That's an opportunity to show you, man, I haven't been as articulate. And sometimes, as I said, we think that we are clear in what we want, but some of the times we're not. And these are the reasons why. Because oftentimes we are threatening people. We threaten people with our wants. Like, if you don't do this, somebody else will take care of me. If you don't do this, they got some other woman who's going to appreciate what I'm doing. That doesn't work. Because now I'm like, well, you must be looking at this other man, or your girlfriend or your wife says, well, you must be looking at this other woman that you think that she can give you what I'm not, or vice versa, right? So we have to understand how we do it. You do it. Don't give people ultimatums. It doesn't work. Don't bully people into trying to fulfill your wants. And don't express it in a way that discourages them. Like you're telling them, yeah, this is what will make me feel happy, but, you know, I doubt if you can do that because you don't really care about anybody but yourself. That's discouraging. Or you tell a sister something like, you know, maybe if you would spend more time trying to do what I want than trying to give me what I want instead of watching TV, well, maybe since I'm not a reality TV show, you're not going to be able to give me the attention that I actually need. That's not encouraging. We have to do it in an encouraging way. And I gave the example of this also. Don't expect somebody to give you what you want if you haven't told them. A lot of times we want our mates to be mind readers. And they say, well, if I tell him, if I tell her, it's kind of cheap in the experience. And I said this before, but if you don't tell them, you're not going to get it. Think about in the service industry, right? And one of the sisters who's on, she works in the service industry. She's been making money. I've been seeing you've been making money, sis. When you go to a restaurant, you have to tell the waiter what you want. When you go to a masseuse, you have to tell the masseuse where you would like him or her to concentrate more on in your body. You go to the doctor, you have to tell the doctor what you want or whatever. When you go get a car, we have to say that. But a lot of us, you know, we have this thing, we have it mixed up. So that's the same thing with our mates, right? But we want to do it in an encouraging way. Simple like this. First, if they have not been giving us our wants, like a sister said, you want to be gently and you want to remind them about them not doing it. But this is how you do it. You start off by thinking about one thing that they have been doing, right? And you start off praising them for that. You know, dear, you know, you really do a good job of planning something for our anniversary. You know, last week, I really liked the fact, honey, that you made my favorite meal. That really makes me feel good. I love it when you do that. Build them up. But then say, there's one thing I would like us to talk about, though. This is something that I need more from you. And I believe you can do it. And this is how you can do it. And I'm about to get to that part right now. You know, so I'm going to get to that point, but I need to make this point for those who are just coming on. Sometimes we find ourselves in a relationship that our mate is not giving us what we want because they feel that we haven't given them what they want. And when that happens, we have to acknowledge and say, you know something, I apologize. Let's have a clean slate. It's evident that I have not been giving you what you want, so in turn, you have not been giving me what I want. So let's sit down, discuss our wants, what we want, why we want them, and how we want them done, and let's start over new, right? Forgiveness is very important in relationships. So key thing, I'm big on all my work dealing with relationships is based upon the Albert Mensah Louis Farrakhan's study guide's title, Self-Improvement is the Basis of Community Development. So all the stuff I deal with dealing with people in relationships, if you're talking to me, eventually I'm going to try to get you to look at yourself because that's where it is. So as you are here, when you have the opportunity, sit down and write this down. What do you want? What do you want in a relationship? Financially, emotionally, physically, all of that stuff. Whatever those areas that are important to you, what do you want? Then after you write that, next to each of them, write down why do you want these things? And if you have trouble explaining why you want these things, you need to really look at that want. Then after you write down what you want, why you want them, write down as many ways that you possibly can to explain to somebody how they can fulfill those wants. So then when you meet someone, you can tell them, you explaining to them what you want, why you want it, and how. That helps people so people don't have to be guessing. I'm looking at, see if they have any other questions. Nobody. Survey your partner and your core mate, definitely. It is called the sandwich technique in the cell industry. Sister, if you read the comments, sister's talking about the sandwich technique, and I guess she can post more. There's a book that we also need, I encourage you to get. If you don't get it, then hey, it can't help you. There's no mystery guide, even in relationships. It's called The 5 Love Languages. And in addition to those books, I gotta promote my own. The journey to get the love you desire begins with you. If you're interested in getting this book, you can order it directly from me, Do for Self. You can send me an inbox with your name, your email address, and I'll send you an invoice. It's a small book, but let me tell you something. To me personally, I'm just going to say it, this book is one of the most effective relationship books you would ever read because it puts us in the ring with the number one obstacle that prevents us from getting the love that we desire, which is us. Then in addition to that, this is my new book. You can get it too. It's titled The Best Ways to Get the Love You Desire. You see this? It said it's a workbook. You know why? Because we got to do some work. You can't have success and not be willing to do any work, right? So thank you, sis. She says thebomb.com. And shortly, maybe in the next month or so, we're going to do another relationship workshop. And I will hope that you all can come out, and those who will come out, you'll have an opportunity to get this book. Both of them are $10, man, $10 expense. So you get it. So I'm about to close out. I got some work I need to do this this morning. But if you can, several things I would like you to do. Can you tag at least 5 other people in this video and ask them to watch it? Can you share it on your page? Can you also set your settings to live notifications so when we come on, people can know that we're coming on? I was scheduled to do this on yesterday, but I couldn't do it. And so thank you. God bless. And peace to each and every one of you all.